Hello everyone. For today, we're going to talk about Japanese literature. This is a very interesting topic because we know how elegant and sophisticated the literature of the Japanese people, right? And also, we know that they also made a great influence to the literature around the world. So, without further ado, let's start with the discussion. The ancient literature muna tayo. Before the Chinese influenced Japanese people, the Japanese people didn't have any system of writing. So when the Chinese came, they influenced the literature of the Japanese people. So before kasi, 'di ba wala silang system of writing. So, the Japanese people didn't have any characters or letters to represent the sounds of the Japanese language. So, they just talk orally, but they didn't write. And so the Chinese influenced or introduced the Manyogana Mayogana, and this is the earliest form of kana or syllabic writing. These are Chinese characters that represent Japanese phonetic sounds, and it uses kanji characters for their phonetic rather than semantic qualities. So, Japanese or Chinese character siya, pero ang sound niya is pang Japanese language. So they just need something to represent the sounds para may maisulat sila. And then these are the earliest works in the Nara period, and ito yung mga sikat. And the first one is the Kojiki, then the Nihon Shoki, and then Manyoshu. So, by the way, I'm not good at Japanese pronunciation. So, babasahin ko na lang kung how I view it. The first oldest important work during the ancient literature is the Kojiki. This is the oldest and the first. So if you're going to translate the Kojiki into Japanese language, it means that these are the records of ancient matters. So the content is about the historical records, ancient Japanese mythology, and folk songs. So it consists of 3 volumes: the Kamitsumaki, Nakatsumaki, and Shimotsumaki. So the first one talks about the volume of the age of gods or the birth of gods. So andun yung presence ng mythology, right? And then yung Nakatsumaki, this is the middle volume. And these are the historical records from the period of the first generation emperor, si Emperor Jimmu, and hanggang sa 15th generation emperors na si Emperor Ojin. So, then the third volume, the Shimotsumaki, is historical records from the period of 16th generation emperor, si Emperor Nintoku, hanggang sa 33rd generation Empress Suiko. So, si Empress Suiko, siya yung first female monarch sa Japan. And historians consider details about the life of Empress Suiko to be possibly legendary, and she's very good at literature and arts, and maraming bagay na magaling siya. And then the next one, ito yung second oldest book sa history ng Japanese literature, yung Nihon Shoki, or also called as Nihongi. And if you're going to translate it into Japanese language, the Nihon Shoki means the Chronicles of Japan. So a lot of people contributed to the creation of this book, and it was under the supervision of Prince Toneri, and it is written in classical Chinese and more detailed than Kojiki. And this contains the historical records of ancient Japan, virtuous rulers, as well as the errors or bad wrongdoings of the rulers during that time. And then the third oldest and third to the most important works during that time is the Mangyoshu, or if you're going to translate it, man means 10,000, yo means lives, and shu means collection. So it was written by every class of person, from emperors to merchants and to farmers, and these are the mixture of long poems and waka poems. And if you're going to read the contents of these poems, it talks about love, life, friendship, beauty, and death. Next is let's move on to the classical literature, or also called the Heian period. So it is considered as the golden era of art and literature, and um, it is centered on the cultural elite and nobility and monks, and the literary works during this time were very elegant and sophisticated and express emotions in rhetorical style. So these are the important works in the Heian period: the Monogatari, Seishonagan, and the Tale of Genji. So let's start with the Monogatari. If we're going to translate it, the meaning of Monogatari is tale or narrative. So there are different um, tales, different Monogatari in Japan, like Nito Monogatari, or the Tale of Two Cities, Genji Monogatari, the Tale of Genji, and marami pang iba. Hindi lang dalawa yung Monogatari na yan, madami yan. Marami silang tales. So Monogatari, this is in the form of prose narrative tale and a preeminent masterpiece of high-end fiction and early work of fiction in the form of novel. So the next one is the Seishonagan. So as you can see at the picture, the book is called the Pillow Book of Sei Shonagan because Sei Shonagan is a writer, but it is somehow like a pen name kasi nobody knows the real name of this writer. So she was a courtesan at the imperial court, and kasabay niya nung that period sa kasikatan din sa pagiging active na writer si Murasaki Shikibu. So, ayan, magkasabay silang active na writer during that time, and I think meron silang isyung dalawa. And aside from that, marami ding contribution si Sei Shonagan na talagang kinikilala sa period ngayon. And etong mga sinulat ni Sei Shonagan, it is a compilation of her diaries and essays, and it describes aristocratic society and lives. So, di ba nga, isa siyang courtesan, or she lived in the imperial court sa palace. So, it is expected na ang content ng kanyang mga diaries and essay is more on the luxurious life, fashion, luxurious lifestyle of the people around, or all the people that lived there. So it describes aristocratic society and women's life kasi nga diary niya yon. It talks about It talked about what she can witness during that time, and she is very observant. So sinusulat niya sa diary yung mga um, nakikita at pamumuhay nila noon na nagkaroon ng great contribution sa history ng Japan. Kasi because of her diary, her essays, nagkaroon tayo ng glimpse on what is the life of the Japanese people during that time. And then these are the examples of her works, the Pillow Book, yan yung mga diary niya, and then Makura no Soshi, siya din yung author nan. And then the next one is the Irohauta or the Iroha poem. So, if you're familiar with the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, this is called a pangram. And a pangram is a sentence or phrase that contains all the 26 letters in the alphabet. So, meron siyang a version sa Japan which is called the Irohauta or Iroha poem. So, these are poems with which consists of sentences that contains all the hiragana characters or para siyang kung sa English parang ABC letters, sa Japan yung hiragana characters, yun yung parang alphabet nila. So this is the example of Irohauta poem or Iroha poem. Ayan, if you're going to take a look at the Japanese characters, that is called hiragana. These are called hiragana characters. And tin-translate lang siya sa English letters para mas maintindihan natin. Yung iro, hani, hohe, yon yung English. And then if you're going to give a meaning, or if you're going to translate it, then this means that colors are pregnant but will scatter. In our world, who could stay gold forever? The deep mountain of Uwi, we will cross it today. I will not have a paper dream unless I am drunk. So that is an example of Irohauta. You just need to remember that in Irohauta or Iroha poem, it is like a pengram. The lines, the sentence contains all the hiragana characters. Next, let's move on to the medieval literature. So, during this time, present yung wars, and yung mga civil wars, it led to the development of warrior class and subsequent war tales, histories, and related stories. So, yung mga literary works during this time is nagre-reflect or connected, nagre-reflect yung pamumuhay nun, kagaya ng life and death, kasi nga present yung war during that time, and simple lifestyle. Kasi I don't think that you can afford to have a luxurious lifestyle during that time kung kasagsagan ng giyera, di ba? And then redemption through killing. So I think more on sorrowful and more on may anger yung mga literary works during that time. And the example of the literary works during that time are Tale of the Heike Hojoki by Kamonochomi and Yoshid Kenko's Ture Zuregusa. So I'm not good at Japanese pronunciation, guys. And then we have the haiku poetry. Ayan, alam kong marami nang familiar sa inyo dito sa haiku poetry, di ba? And haiku poetry is a poetry in Japan which ang theme nito ay about nature. Pero ngayon parang meron na ding iba't ibang idea or iba't ibang theme ang haiku. Basta ginagamitan siya ng, always remember, meron siyang 3 lines and follows a pattern of syllables. Meron siyang 3 lines and sa 3 lines na yon ang pattern ay 5-7-5 and wala siyang rhyme. So, ito yung example ng haiku na nilikha or created by Matsuo Basho. Isa siyang sikat na writer ng haiku. So, from time to time, the clouds give rest to the moon beholders. So, ayun lang. So, let's remember, pasadahan ulit natin para madali nating matandaan ang haiku. Meron siyang pattern, 3 lines, and ang syllables ng pattern ng syllables ay 5-7-5 and walang rhyme. Haiku, 5-7-5. So, ayan, medieval literature, more on life, death, simple lifestyle, and killing kasi present ang war during this time. Then yung Iroha Uta or Iroha poem, it's like pentagram or sentence that contains all the letters, or in Japanese, all the hiragana characters. And then si Shai Shonagan, famous with the book Pillow Book, and basta yung Pillow Book about diaries ni Sei Shonagan. And then Monogatari, these are tales, and the author is Murasaki Shikibu. Then those are the important works in Heian period, the Monogatari, Sei Shonagan, and the Tale of Genji. And then sa classical period, this is also called Heian period. So ancient period is called Nara period. Classical period is called Heian period. And in medieval, some more on war yun. So sa classical literature, we have the Heian period, or this is also called the golden era of art and literature. And the literature during this time are elegant and sophisticated. So, ayan, yung famous literature natin, important works during that time ay yung Kojiki, Nihonshoki, and Manyoshu. If you, para mas madaling tandaan, yung Nihonshoki ay Nihongi. You can also call it Nihongi. And then, sa ancient literature, yung Nara period, dito pa lang nag-start yung system of writing ng Japanese people. Na-introduce siya ng mga Chinese, yung Manyogana. So, this is the earliest form of syllabic writing in Japan. And it uses, Manyogana uses Chinese characters that represent the Japanese language or sounds. They only use Chinese characters to represent the sound of Japanese language or Japanese syllables and sounds. More on phonetic yon, okay? Yun lang. And what else? Arigato. Bye guys. Thank you for listening.